Rant here from the dark side. I have a question for you. Who is a cokehead that is capable of kicking your ass any day of the week? That would be the UFC lightweight champion Johnny Cocaine Jones. Johnny Cocaine Jones has entered a drug treatment facility after a pre-fight test given on December 4 came back positive for benzoylecithin, a metabolite found in cocaine that can be detected in urine. Now here is the big kicker: benzoylecithin, I mean cocaine, is not banned when you're out of competition. Yes, you can be a cokehead in the UFC if you're so-called out of competition, so he was allowed to fight Daniel Cormier in the title fight. This fight never should have happened. Why? Well, let's get to the real news. The Nevada Athletic Commission tested Jon Jones on 3 separate occasions during December 2014. 2 of these tests, both administered on December 4, showed the presence of cocaine metabolites. What people aren't talking about is this: all 3 tests show abnormal levels of testosterone and/or epitestosterone. Yes, Johnny Cocaine Jones is not just a cokehead, it appears he has been using performance-enhancing drugs too. I wonder if they informed Daniel Cormier of this before the fight. According to Bloody Elbow, on December 18 his testosterone levels are still lower than normal, but his epitestosterone appears to have increased very significantly. This is a red flag. Epitestosterone is produced in parallel with testosterone, and in a normal, healthy individual every 1 ng/dl of testosterone produces roughly 1 ng/dl of epitestosterone. Please go to Bloody Elbow for more details. This is why I believe his belt should be stripped from him. He is a cheater and a cokehead. Now that Johnny Cocaine Bones has been caught, he says he wants to apologize to his fiancée, children, as well as his mother, father, and brothers and everyone else for the mistake that he made, but he did not extend an apology to the people he fought. You cheated them too. They all had to cut weight the hard way while you did performance-enhancing drugs and coke, which you consider to be a mistake. Well, Johnny Cocaine Jones, doing cocaine more than once is not a mistake, it's an addiction that has finally caught up to you. It's an addiction that has destroyed everything you have worked hard for. On top of that, your test shows abnormal levels of testosterone and/or epitestosterone. You have not addressed that yet. Why? Your last 2 fights were very close. People will always wonder if your cocaine diet and performance-enhancing drugs gave you a slight edge over your opponents. Now we all know why you do not have any problems cutting weight, cokehead Jones. You found a way to beat the system with your coke diet. In the beginning fans wanted to love you, but you did everything to make them hate you. I was one of those fans who started off liking you and only to see the real you emerge. Even then, I had to respect your talent and dedication to the sport, but now you're just a abnormal testosterone cokehead cheater who thinks he can keep deceiving the public. None of us are fooled by your rehab stunt. If you really cared about everyone you mentioned, you would have checked your cokehead ass into rehab before you got caught. It has been reported that someone close to you said, "I can't believe it took this long for John to get popped doing coke." Also, the fact that you rushed into rehab lets us all know you're a cokehead cheater. You do not deserve the belt. It was not just a mistake you made partying one day. You need to get off of your coke high-end performance-enhancing drugs and come back to reality. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Now let's hear from the good folks in the Yahoo comments section. For that, we will turn to Tina.
Awesome, thank you Randy, let's get to it. Daniel M. writes: whatever happened to your code of conduct, Dana White? Fighters shall conduct themselves in accordance with commonly accepted standards of decency, social convention, and morals, and fighters will not commit any act or become involved in any situation or occurrence or make any statement which will reflect negatively upon or bring disrepute, contempt, scandal, ridicule, or disdain to the fighter or the UFC. Well, Daniel, now we know that does not apply to Johnny Cocaine Jones. Dana White has a double standard. It's okay to do coke if you're a top money maker for the UFC, but if you're a Diaz brother, you get put on blast and suspended. The next comment is from Pac-Man. He writes, "Wow, look at the John Jones fans defending him. Not long ago White was coming down hard on Nick Diaz for smoking some weed. Jones, like his fans, are hypocrites. His fight with DC should be ruled a NC and he should be stripped of his title. Coke only stays in your system for 2 or 3 days, so clearly John was sowing more than a few lines. Jones may be a great fighter but he is not a great champion. True Pac-Man, Cocaine Jones is a great fighter but he is not a great champion. He has had 2 fights with people in their prime, that was Daniel Cormier and Gus, and in both fights he looked good but not great. Most of the other fighters he beat were past the peak of their careers. Most were over 30. Next. PJB writes, is Coke not a way to drop weight while maintaining energy to train? Yes it is, this is why his belt should be stripped from him. Remember, he did not start to look good against Daniel Cormier until the 3rd round. We will never know if the Coke gave him an advantage, but between his abnormal levels of testosterone and Coke use, I think it's safe to say he did have an advantage over Daniel Cormier. I would like to thank you all for your comments and for watching. Tina here for the dark side. Late.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.